Okay, so just very briefly before I go into my speech. My name is Aesa and I work as EU fundraising specialist at Impact Hub Global Network. And we are a locally rooted global network of entrepreneurial communities. And Impact Hub Liepājas is one of our members. We have as goal to accelerate the transition of local and global value chains towards sustainability, inclusion, and resilience. What we do, we support vibrant communities like Liepājas and others. We have programs around the world, and we support the creation of inspiring working place or inspiring places, and we support the building of new and innovative ecosystems. So Impact Hub Network is in more than 100. We have more than 120 local hubs globally. So we are a little bit overall, all over the world. And we have more than 24,000 members working, or impact makers working with the brand of Impact Hub. We started later in the late years to actually have a real strong focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion. And we implement different programs around that. And especially we have examples include the Better Incubation Program that supports the underrepresented groups. We have programs in Latin America for the indigenous people. We have as well programs working with Ukrainian migrants or refugees as well in different countries. But more than that, we have also programs that supports innovation, but that supports the local communities. We work in Armenia, for example, we work to boost circular economy through supporting the small and medium enterprises. This is actually an EU-funded project. We have in Europe, we work a lot with Horizons, with ESF. We have now a project on digitalization to support small and medium enterprises in their digital transition. So the role we hopefully we play in our ecosystem is to remove barriers and to bring to support impact entrepreneurship and to make good in their context. We build a pipeline of impactful solutions and innovations. We try to connect, again, and entrepreneurial innovation with institutions and corporate efforts. This is a little bit kind of the red thread of my speech later. And we try to support and work as a platform to scale up successful innovation projects or programs. So this is really briefly of Impact Hub Global Network. For my speech instead, that I was trying. So my idea, and it's kind of building on what had been said until now from Henrik, from I don't remember the names, sorry, and I tried to catch the Latvian, but I think it was mentioned strategy, it was mentioned AI and digitalizations, but I would really like to focus on what is behind the scenes when you work with donors or fundraising, because when I started, I've been working with NGO world kind of since my early age, you can say that, with the Red Cross, with the Western Sahara people. But when I arrived in Mozambique, it was more like an eye-opener, because at that point I needed to work with programs and I needed to work with the people around. And I started to realize that there is a lot of work behind the continuation and the values that you have that brings you to, that you need to manage, to fundraise, to find resources as well. So a friend of mine, and I've been discussing this with my group, with my team all the time. And yesterday, actually, we were discussing again about business development. And someone else told one colleague of mine that our work as fundraiser or business developer is making friends. We need to be great and make friends. That sounds quite strange, I know, but I have a point, I'll promise. And because it's about relationship, okay? So when I started, and the relationship is to build trust between you and your donor, because your donor need to trust you that you can actually manage the money that you receive, and that with managing that, you can create impact. It's a very, I mean, lately, a lot of big donors want impact, they want data, they want to know what is happening, and that's, of course, it's a trend, probably will last for a few years, but it's really important that you manage and you can show what you are doing. And in the past year, I've been working with NGOs for 17 years almost, from Save the Children to Plan International, and now with Impact Hub. And I've been through, but I started to work with fundraising only in the last 8 years. And what I have learned is to build a bridge, or let's say, to build to speak two different languages. One is your donor language and your community language. I started with my learnings, and my path is more like, I love more the donor language, sorry to say, but because that is what I can. And it happened a little bit on a very strange way. It was an external audit that arrived at Save the Children for two projects, and it was massive. But we ended up with €14 on ineligible cost. And I actually wrote the EU, the Commission was like, do you really want back €14? And they were like, do you really think that the Commission is going on bankruptcy for €14? I'm like, I know, but I wanted to know, just to be sure that you don't want 14 back. But it was an eye-opener in terms like I learned what the EU in that case wanted. And even if it's compliance, is anyway the capacity for you to know your donor. And that's really important when you work with international donors and big donors. And is a capacity to build the relationship with them. When we had some projects in Palestine when I was in Save the Children, and we had the opportunity to actually continue what we did, because we managed to manage the project well, even if it was complicated and stressing and very frustrating in some cases, but it gave impact. And in that time, we could build the relationship with the person at the EU delegation in Palestine. And that built the trust between us and the donor in that case. So what I learned is that fundraising, at least for international donor, is about building the relationship and the trust. It's a kind of building a long-lasting friendship, kind of. Of course, I mean, let's be honest, not every donor is the same. So the EU or other big donors like SIDA or any other, they have a lot more compliance and rules and regulation than many others. But this could work with international foundations. And this is what I think is important that we understand and try to build bridges between between people working, the build the relationship based on trust. And for doing that, there is I think we need to kind of follow like different steps. This is, of course, again, this is based on my own experience, but I think that you need to be clear. First, you need to be clear, what do you do? What is your value? What is your strategy? And once you're clear, you need to learn how to communicate that and being out there. Another, let's say, step in building the bridge is, again, building the relationship. Go out, present yourself, meet the people. Don't be afraid. Okay, don't be afraid to talk to each other. And again, is values, but it's also the capacity. So, for example, if you want to go out Latvia and meet people, go out to webinars, use that guy to get contacts outside, because he can reach contacts outside through us. So contact him to get to us. But we have also, within Save the Children plan, we discussed a lot about prepositioning. And what is prepositioning? It seems like a lot. It's strategy. Is to know your donor, know what they want, go to them and say, oh, we are very good at this and A, B, C, D, and continue and nourish that relationship. But don't go to them like, oh, we want to do this and we need 30,000, because they will say, yeah, okay, thank you. And then it's there. So it takes time. Maybe not I want it now, but it will take time. And unfortunately, is a mix between like making money now and building relationship longer term. And another build the bridge is strategic alliances, partnerships. Again, is building the relationship with your peers. I know probably, I don't know how many of you have EU funding or have had the possibility to have international or work with international NGOs or international donors, but there are opportunities to actually go out and meet other peers with which you can build relationship. And then at the end, they will know you, they will contact you and say, oh, by the way, do you want to be part of our consortia in applying for, I don't know, generative AI, for example? And you will say, yeah, of course, we would like to do that. And we can do this in Latvia, ABCD. And then from step by step, you will create that. So some key lessons learned, again, from my side is trust is kind of everything. So build your trust towards your donor. Try to be clear on what you want, but at the same time, adapt yourself to your donor. For example, IKEA Foundation is huge. They did a shift in their strategy that create chaos in the Swedish NGO world, because from education, like with the soft toys, from education strategy to climate and environment. And the Swedish organization was like, oh my God, what do we need now? So every kind of Swedish NGO were like, okay, we cannot get funding from IKEA because we don't know anything about climate. Or same happened with the H&M Foundation, from being very focused on education, women, and they have now really peculiar strategy, like the gas emission from the textile industry. And it's like, yeah, seriously? But on the other side, you have many organizations in Europe that works with textile and fashion on circular economy. So it's also like, depending on what is your, let's say, core strategy or your core thematic, try to adapt that to what the donor wants. So it opens the eyes. And of course, again, it's like, know your donor and know what you want from them so they can give you what you want. And again, is a little bit on compliance and storytelling. Use your reports. Be compliant, keep the deadlines, but at the same time, have a good communication way of doing your compliance and what you do. I close it, kind of. 1 second. 2, okay, I round it. I round it with build a relationship, trust, communicate, and go digital. You like that one? Good. Okay, thank you.